शेयर कर दी। Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible. There was some technical issue, so I started a bit late. Good evening everyone. I hope I'm audible. So 48 hours for CAT. All the best, everyone. So this session is basically about, because I know that nowadays you won't be that much motivated that you will start practicing on your own. So this is basically a kind of proctored practice in which you'll be practicing with me. So let's start with today. I have a lot of passages, and based on them there are questions. So we'll be doing that. How many of you are not the students of iQuanta? Those who are not, might take some time to kind of be in sync with me, but then that is okay. सरिता एडमिट कार्ड आईडी प्रूफ दोनों लेके जाना पड़ेगा आपको, और कोशिश करो कि जूते ना पहनो, उतरवा देंगे. It's better to wear some sandals or slippers, and also do not wear something which has got a lot of pockets. ठीक है, चलो. So let's start with the first passage, and in this passage, first of all we'll go through the questions. So when you start in CAT, what is going to happen? So you have 4 passages, and then first section is VARC only. So whatever you do in VARC would make or break the day. And अगर पहला सेशन खराब हो गया तो आगे वाला फिर मूड खराब हो जाएगा आपका. ठीक है, तो वो ध्यान रखना है, वो नहीं करना है. दूसरा, पहला अच्छा होगा तो you will be kind of motivated. So how should VARC be approached? That is something I'm going to tell you now. So first of all, but today, like there's no choice कि कौन से पहले आप लोगे, because we have a lot of passages. There you will be having some choice. So before attempting any passage, you should read the questions. That is the first thing that you should do. Okay, and while reading the passage here, I'll mark the keywords, because this is on board and I can mark. In the real exam you cannot do that, but you have rough paper, and on that you can just write down the keywords from the questions as well as passage. Okay, so I'll just start that. For the first passage, let us read the first question. The living landscape all around us is just a thin veneer atop the vast, little understood bulk of the Earth's interior. The primary purpose of this statement is to emphasize that. ठीक है, कि क्या primary purpose is statement का? That is what we have to understand. And for this kind of question, we should not read the options first of all. Okay, because whenever we have something like primary purpose, main purpose, do not read the options first of all, because this will depend on the passage itself. And if you read the options, you will become biased. Is that clear? I hope you are noting these things down. Question number 2. Which of the following is not true? These are some words which a lot of people skip under pressure. Not, except, less than, etc. Okay, Abhishek, that's not a mock. This basically, I have prepared some passages. It's there. Okay, so not true. These things are something which should be kept in mind while answering, because people tend to skip that under pressure. All right. Not true regarding the freshwater reservoirs. This is the keyword which you will write in your rough paper. Question 2, keyword is freshwater reservoir. Okay. The freshwater reservoir in the subsurface, so I'll just mark the keywords. In the subsurface is approximately 100 times larger than the available fresh water. That's it. So these are the keywords. Through this we can get the answer. Extra sheets you can take, Manisha. Ages of underground water reservoirs range from 7 years to 2 billion years. Okay, not true की बात हो रही है, ध्यान रखना है. Deep terrestrial subsurface is home to 2 to 20 times as many prokaryotic cells as live in all the open surface. The deep biosphere could contain up to 1/3 of Earth's entire biomass. Cool enough. Now coming to question number 3. All of the following can be inferred from the passage except. Except is the keyword over here. Sunlight is essential for survival on the surface. Sunlight, essential, survival, surface. A very long absence of sunlight. Absence, very long sunlight can cause depression in human beings. Okay. Nothing can survive without the sunlight. Life within the Arctic Circle and Antarctic is very challenging. Question number 4. Which of the following has been cited as the main reason behind the possibility of life in the subterranean ecosystem? Main reason, possibility of life, where? In the subterranean ecosystem. So this is what you should do. Okay? And always, this is a science-based passage, right? That is something which you guys understand. Science-based passages are the ones which are majorly very easy because they have direct data-driven questions. यहाँ पे देखो डायरेक्ट है ना ये पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ लाइफ क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबल होगा सनलाइट प्रेजेंस ऑफ हॉट वाटर molecular hydrogen radiation from natural radioactive elements in the rocks. So now we have enough data to we can actually mark all the questions in this passage correctly. Cool. Yeah, the shoes will be, you have to remove the shoes. That is there. So it's better not to wear any shoes. Now let us read the passage. You have 3 to 5 minutes to read this and then we'll go on to the questions. Your time starts now. One minute more. रुचि जो साइट पे मॉक होता है वो सिर्फ इसलिए होता है आपको पैटर्न दिखाने के लिए. There's nothing else. So if you do it, it's good. If you don't do it, it's not bad. Depends on how much time you have got. Okay, so now let us go to the questions. Ready, everyone? Okay. This is the first question, and you also have the keywords marked. Come up with your answers. Be quick. Okay, coming to question number 2. You have the keywords marked. Also mark the question numbers, like 1 का क्या है, 2 का क्या है. Issue, you can do one thing. You can just take the screenshot of the passage, you know, in that case. Now coming to question number 3. All can be inferred except. People watching on Facebook, Rashmi, Nitika, Shachi, Nityanand, and others, try to answer. Nancy, you want to see the passage once? Here is the passage. Take the screenshot. Well, now coming to question number 4. Main reason behind the possibility of life in the subterranean ecosystem. Okay. Today there is low attendance. I think a lot of people might be traveling, because CAT can throw you to greater distances in terms of center. So people just start traveling 2 days prior. Okay, now I will read the passage for you guys and try to tell you how to find the correct answer. By the way, most of you have marked things correct, and that's a good thing actually. So here how it goes. And see, I'll emphasize on the, see what happens, the passage is huge. I'll emphasize only on the points which are relevant for us to answer the questions. Okay, that is how I'm going to read it. The living landscape all around us is just a thin veneer atop the vast, little understood bulk of the Earth's interior. Now this is the question, right? That what does the author want to say about this? A widespread misconception about the deep subsurface is that this realm consists of a continuous mass of uniform compressed solid rock. This is a, so he says that this is a misconception, right? That means ये चीज सही नहीं होगी, कुछ और होगा. Few are aware that this mass of rock is heavily fractured and water runs in many of these fractures and falls down to depths of many kilometers. The deep earth supports an entire biosphere largely cut off from the surface world and is still only beginning to be explored and understood. So this is important for us, the deep earth, because there are questions about this, has an entire biosphere. It is cut off from the surface world, like surface, the surface on which we live, right? And it is still only beginning to be explored and understood. So still we do not know how huge is it, how vast is it, right? I hope you get that from reading the first paragraph itself. The amount of water in subsurface is considerable. मतलब अच्छा खासा है. Globally, the freshwater reservoir in the subsurface is estimated to be up to 100 times as great as all the, in the subsurface, freshwater reservoir in subsurface is estimated to be 100 times as great as all the available fresh water in the rivers, lakes and swamps combined, that is on the surface. This water ranging in ages from 7 years to 2 billion years, that is also important, it was in one of the options, is being intensely studied by researchers because it defines the location and scope of deep life. We know now that the deep terrestrial subsurface is home to 1 quintillion simple prokaryotic cells. Deep terrestrial subsurface. 1 quintillion is huge, like a lot of prokaryotic cells. That is 2 to 20 times as many cells as live in all the open ocean. By some estimates, the deep biosphere, this is important, 20 times as they live in the open ocean. It's not the surface. This is important, This is actually important. कि वहाँ पे 20 गुना ज़्यादा cells हैं, कहाँ पे? Deep surface में. किससे compare करने पे? Open ocean में. They're not comparing with the surface. It's the open ocean. So you should keep this thing in mind. By some estimates, the deep biosphere could contain up to 1/3 of Earth's entire biomass. Wow. To comprehend the deep biosphere, we must look past the familiar rules of biology. On the surface, life without the sun for an extended period of time is dangerous or deadly. Without daylight, no plants or crops can grow, temperatures get colder and colder, few organisms, including human beings, can long tolerate such conditions. For instance, people living within the Arctic Circle, as well as maintenance staff at Antarctic research stations, during winter experience 24 hours darkness for several months each year. They are more vulnerable to health issues such as depression. That was important. They find ways to adapt and get through the long, dark, cold winter, but it isn't easy. By the way, I want to give you trivia about this one. Do you guys know that in Norway, it's 6 months night and 6 months day? You have an idea about this, right? And during the end of those months, it's some kind of a twilight sort of thing. This is Sham ya Subah ho jaye. You have an idea about this? People in Norway, they live like that. 6 months sun. So they use, very dark, perfectly pitch black curtains, to avoid any kind of light, so that they can sleep. There was a movie based on this. It was called Insomnia. Directed by Christopher Nolan, and the actor was who was the actor? Al Pacino. Remember that? Okay. इतना easy से नहीं है मनु, आता है, मैं दिखा सकता हूँ. Now imagine the challenges in places that have been isolated from sunlight and organic compounds derived from light-dependent reactions for millions or even billions of years. It seems incomprehensible that anything could survive there. It seems incomprehensible. Yet, scientists, including the members of our team at Princeton University in New Jersey, have found surprisingly diverse microorganisms in the deep earth adapted to lifestyle independent of the sun. This is also important. By the way, I think you know about this. Sulfur bacteria. You know that? Sulfur bacteria is independent of the sun. When we were kids, we read about photosynthesis is the main source of energy. Sun is the main source of energy, and photosynthesis is the main process through which we survive, right? You must have read that. But slowly we got to know that there are some organisms which are independent of photosynthesis. That is, sulfur bacteria is one of them. Sunlight can filter down to depths of about 1,000 meters in ocean water, but light penetrates no more than a few centimeters into soils or rocks. Cold is not a problem down there. However, quite the opposite, rainwater that percolates kilometers deep into the crust along fractures and falls between rocks can reach temperatures of 60 degrees centigrade or higher. This is not important to us. The further down you go from the surface, the closer you are to the mantle. Heat rising from the inner earth is what warms the fissure water. Additionally, the water is under pressure, contains very little oxygen, and is bombarded by radiation from natural. So this is something which is not important for us to answer the questions. We should not even think about it, right? within this hellish environment, though, are crucial ingredients for nurturing life. Underground water reacts with minerals in the continental crust, and the longer the water has been trapped down there, the more time there has been for the results of those reactions to accumulate along the flow path. So this is basically, what they have done here. I am not going to even read it. They have basically talked about how those organisms are living there. By the way, there's one important part over there. The slow reactions between water and rock dissolve minerals and all that thing, all the chemistry happens, break up some of the water molecules, producing molecular hydrogen. This is important for us to answer the question, the fourth question. This hydrogen is an important fuel for microorganisms in the deep surface. दिव्यांश बता रहा हूँ, तुम पहले भी क्लास में दिव्यांश, इसी तरह तो हम करते हैं, पहले आप करते हो, फिर मैं करता हूँ, फिर हम आपसे डिस्कस करते हैं. I think दिव्यांश first time आयो आप. Anyways, we are also beginning to map the different ecosystems and population of deep earth. Generally speaking, the older subterranean fissure water is brinier, very saltier, and has higher concentration of dissolved hydrogen. Our studies and those by some of our colleagues have shown an apparent trend that the microbes living in older, more brackish water are distinctly different from ones in the younger, less saline water. Old water ecosystems are dominated by, this is important, hydrogen utilizing microorganisms such as sulfate reducing bacteria, as I told you, sulfur bacteria, and methane producing archaea. Those methane producing archaea or methanogens or microbes that visually resemble bacteria but are so structurally and genetically distinct that they belong to a completely separate domain of life. Sulfate producing bacteria where is it? Sulfate-reducing bacteria and methanogens are among the life forms that appeared earlier in the evolutionary history. In contrast, young water systems are dominated by metabolically diverse and versatile bacteria of the phylum Proteobacteria. So all along this, basically, what has author tried to mention? What is his main purpose? Why has he written all of this? Basically, what do you think? He has written all of this because he wants to explore life beyond the surface, right? Life beyond the surface, and he talks about how the subterranean ecosystem is very vast and we are yet to explore it. Clear? So the first question, the answer will be this. That is what his entire argument is. He talks about this ecosystem. He talks about how there are organisms that don't depend on sun, and all that stuff is written. So his main thing is that we should know, readers should know, that this ecosystem is very vast and we are yet to explore it. Clear? So I don't know how many of you marked one. Coming to second, we know very little about Earth's interior. That is true. But that cannot be primary purpose. है ना? इतनी सी बात बताने के लिए इतना लंबा कोई लिखेगा नहीं, isn't it? Our ecosystem is nothing as compared to subterranean ecosystem. Now this is nothing. अभी पता ही नहीं है. We are yet to explore, so we cannot be very sure about the comparison. All is of course wrong. First is the correct one. How many of you got the correct answers? How many of you got it correct? कुछ लोगों ने 2 लिख दिया होगा, but that cannot be primary purpose. इतनी छोटी सी बात बोलने के लिए nobody can write this entire passage. हाँ ठीक है स्टेटमेंट के बारे में पूछा गया है. ऑफ कोर्स क्या बोला गया है? लिविंग लैंडस्केप ऑल अराउंड अस इज जस्ट अ थिन वेनियर अटॉप द वास्ट लिटिल अंडरस्टूड बल्क ऑफ द अर्थ्स इंटीरियर. तो जो अर्थ का इंटीरियर दैट सबटेरियन इकोसिस्टम इज वास्ट, ओके, वो बड़ा है, उसके बारे में हम बहुत कम जानते हैं. ये बात यहाँ पता चल नहीं रही है बिकॉज ही हैज ट्राइड टू कंपेयर द वर्ल्ड अराउंड अस ह्यूमंस टू द वर्ल्ड दैट वी ह्यूमंस आर नॉट even seeing. So that world is very vast. अब ये बोलना है कि अर्थ के इंटीरियर, now interior is something which is not just this ecosystem. Here we have subterranean ecosystem. That is the keyword over here. Earth's interior can also talk about the Earth's core, the magnetic fields, the minerals, the ores, isn't it? ये बात समझ में आया? Do you get that? Ruben CG? I hope the query is solved now. Cool. Earth's interior is a vague term. It can be talking about the non-living things also, the entire core. I hope it's clear to all of you. Cool. Monetization here, it's not under my control, you know. Well, second one. All in one, the main thing is, I hope you have got it. Interior is vague, है ना? ये बात तो मानते हो ना? Earth's interior बहुत कुछ आ जाएगा. Just because you have read about the ecosystem in the passage, that doesn't mean that they are talking about this only. See, this is how we get biased. हम एक पैसेज पढ़ते हैं, अगर वहाँ पे अर्थ इंटीरियर के बारे में केवल अर्थ के अंदर डीप सरफेस की वो लाइफ की बात कर रहा है, तो you will think only about that. That is biasing. But independently the statement can talk about a lot of other things. Well, coming to this one. Not true. Which one is not true? पहली बात तो क्लियर थी, 100 times larger is that is true actually, so ruled out. Ages of underground is 7 to 2 billion, is exact data driven question था, ruled out. Deep life is home to 20 times as many prokaryotic cells. Just a minute. Okay, so all of you remember when I was explaining this, I talked about this clearly. Open surface नहीं, वहाँ पे open ocean की बात की गई थी. Do you remember that? So correct answer is 3, and I emphasized on it. So tell me something. When you were earlier, when you marked this question, did you mark 3, all of you, or only after explaining you marked 3? So even if this passage looks easy to a lot of you, it's not that easy. People can actually miss out on this open surface, क्योंकि वहाँ पे open ocean में लोग confuse हो सकते थे. Okay? How many of you got confused? Okay, the next one. All can be inferred except, so I have marked the keyword sunlight essential survival, exactly. Depression की बात भी, nothing can survive, this is wrong, because there are some organisms which have been talked about in the last few paragraphs who can survive. Everyday progress primarily was whole passage, but in that question it was only about the statement. ठीक है, coming to next one. Main reason, molecular hydrogen, that is clearly mentioned. So I think in this passage 2 questions were easy, one was moderate and one was actually tricky. People will get confused, and even if you think it is easy, they can mark it wrong. Harsh, there is nothing like that. ये कौन सा slot best होता है? There's nothing like that. So we have done it. And we have one more bonus question, so as to okay, a bonus question in which I'll test whether you have actually paid attention to all the things in the passage or not. Try to answer it in the real time. Everyday progress, I think I have answered your query already, so please do not write again and again. Stop spamming. Ergo, tone is basically here scientific or technical or descriptive. All right. Good afternoon, Nazargi. Ritvik, factual, yeah. See, basically, there is no fixed tone, you know. Technical, scientific, factual, these are all basically tones. And in last 10 years, CAT has never asked a single question about tones. Still we do it in the classes so as to get the idea of the passage. Because tones, in case of tones, people always have varied thoughts. So it depends on the options. If option says factual, तो factual mark कर देना. If it is technical, technical mark कर देना. But there is no question on that. A lot of people indiscriminately and unnecessarily focus on questions based on tones which are not there. Because one passage has a lot of tones, not just a single one. I hope you also have felt that, right? Okay, here contrast की बात कर रहा है between the old water ecosystem and the new water ecosystem. So in the last paragraph, they have talked about it. Okay. The first one says, no Zagnik, do not read tones notes. नहीं चाहिए, ज़रूरत ही नहीं है वो करने की. Contrast between old water ecosystem and the new water ecosystem. That is what we have to talk about. If you look at the first one, the first it doesn't even talk about the contrast at all. Methane producing archaea, methanogens are microbes. ये इन्होंने microbe की बात कर दी है, तो first is of course it doesn't talk about that. Same is with the fourth one. वो भी सिर्फ उन्हीं सल्फेट producing bacteria बात कर रहा है. It's not given at all. Only second one talks about it. Second is correct. So there's no prize for guessing it. Let us go to the next question now. Tirtha, only one passage, do not do that. Why will you do that? How many passages should have to be done, Chirag? Now depends on what you want. If you want to go into IIMs, I think 2.5 passages. 2.5. What does that mean? 10 questions of RC and around 6 questions of VA should be done correctly. If you are aiming for the top IIMs. Here is the passage. Now I think you should read the questions first, right? Here is the first question. And now I won't mark the keywords. I need you guys to mark keywords according to yourself. Okay? So let us prepare you for the D-Day. वहाँ पे जाए क्या करने वाले हो? अपने आप keywords mark करो अपने paper पे फटाफट. And I'll give 1 minute 30 seconds for all the questions. Vasu, that is because you'll read the entire passage, but there will be, out of 12 questions, 2 questions can be there which are difficult, which you won't probably be able to do. That is what I mean by 2.5. It doesn't mean कि आधा पढ़ना है. Mark the keywords. Coming to question number 2. अरे मार्क मत करो, पेपर पे लिखो ना. लक्षित अभी तो बताया था मैंने, वहां पे आप मार्क नहीं कर पाओगे. यू कैन राइट ऑन पेपर. सिंपल वर्ड्स, सिम्टम्स, डायग्नोसिस, ट्रीटमेंट. ये क्वेश्चन का पार्ट है, फिर नीचे लिख दो जैसे भी आपको उसको करना है। वैसे तो ऑर्डर है, ये करने की जरूरत नहीं है, दिस इज समथिंग यू कैन नॉट मार्क, यू कैन डू दिस क्वेश्चन ओनली आफ्टर रीडिंग द एंटायर पैसेज, isn't it? We're going to take 4 to 5 keywords, that is not possible. Nikhil, that doesn't actually matter because teachers do not take the admission. They do not sit in the personal interview and VAT stage. That is why even if they score 100 percentile, that won't matter much. Okay, so don't worry about that thing. Moreover, 99% of teachers are they do only their section because you'll hardly find someone who will be good in quants as well as VARC, right? There are only 5 to 6 teachers in entire India who will do all of it. Prajwalit, I think you're not my student, that is why you're asking this question. But and अब एकदम से चेंज करना वो आपके लिए सही होगा नहीं होगा, I cannot comment on that. But I think right now whatever we are doing is helping more. If you feel that reading the question is a better idea, then you should do that. But I have been saying it from last 1 month that you should do it this way. हिमांग 1 मिनट क्वेश्चन के लिए बोला था भाई, मेरे पैसेज के लिए नहीं बोला था. क्वेश्चन 4 देख लिया आप लोगों ने. So now I'll go to the passage. I'll give you 3 to 5 minutes, okay, to read that. So let's go to the passage now. Here it is. Your time starts now. So Ranjit, that's right. साइंस वाले पैसेज ईजिएस्ट होते हैं, चाहे आप साइंस बैकग्राउंड के हो या ना हो. बट अगर साइंस में फिलॉसफी आ गई तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी. साइंस प्लस फिलॉसफी, लाइक इन केस ऑफ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, तो बड़ी प्रॉब्लम होती है. चिराग, एक पैसेज पे रीडिंग एंड सॉल्विंग टोटल मिला के 8 से 10 मिनट. समाद्रिता इज द फास्टेस्ट वन. पहले वाले पैसेज को उसने सबसे पहले कर लिया था, इस बार भी सबसे पहले कर लिया है. 30 seconds to go. So, and I hope all of you have taken the screenshots of the passage so that when I move to the question, you have your screenshot ready. Here comes the first question. Here comes the second question. Also mark the question number. Coming to question number 3. Question number 4. And one bonus question. We have one bonus question, that is question number 5. In CAT you'll have only 4. Okay. Here I have made bonus questions also. All can be inferred except. By the way, how was the passage? And how are the questions? How would you rate it? Eddie Mishra, he says easy. Easy to moderate. Okay. Let us see how many questions did you get right. Chalo, ठीक है. Easy, that means all of you will be doing at least 4 questions correct, right? वैसे 5 तो सही हो जाने चाहिए, but कम से कम 4 सबके सही होंगे. That is what I am hoping. Okay, now coming to the passage. The voices told him that he was God, and Oliver believed them. Only 17 years old, he was special, chosen, a higher being whose wisdom and intelligence were beyond compare. Psychiatrists, all right. Psychiatrists, however, label these voices as auditory hallucinations. कुछ movie याद आ गई? Any horror movie? Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It, Part 4. Auditory hallucinations. His first psychotic episode, a diagnosis of schizophrenia, soon followed. For the next 5 years, Oliver would spend weeks in mental institutions at hospitals in northern England. Okay, northern England, where he lived. When he was deemed too aggressive for one facility, he was injected with sedatives, bundled into the back of a van and driven to a higher security institution. The drugs made the voices distant. Oliver felt subdued and heavy as he fell back to earth. 5 years have passed. Although he is unemployed, Oliver is now able to live at home with his wife and young daughter. He takes clozapine, an antipsychotic that's prescribed to patients who don't respond to first-line drugs such as olanzapine and quetiapine. It's a last resort for a reason. Clozapine, a toxic medicine that has a number of white blood cells in his body. So Oliver has regular blood tests to make sure he is not immune compromised. A concern that has grown during COVID-19 pandemic. By the way, all of you must know that white blood cells basically fight and ward off bacteria and infections, right? Yeah, Shutter Island, isn't it? I hope you understand that. White blood cell कम हो जाएंगी तो infections ज़्यादा होंगे. I haven't seen Oliver in all this time. The tone is narrative over here. No prizes for guessing. It's narrative. It's a story. An author also is there. First person लिखा हुआ है about Oliver. I only know that what's been happening to him via his father, my uncle. We are cousins with just 2 years between us in age. Yet Oliver and I have lived through different, often opposing experiences of mental disorder. While Oliver felt lifted to the heights, I believe that I was worthless, guilty of ruining the lives of others. Far from being heavenly, I felt as better off dead and buried. The suicidal ideation, combined with the lack of motivation and baseless guilt, is typical of a mood disorder, which is depression. Accordingly, doctors prescribed me antidepressants that adjust the neurotransmitter serotonin in my brain, rather than clozapine or another antipsychotic which target different brain chemical, dopamine. I have never been institutionalized or injected with sedatives, although I am prescribed them. I've never heard voices in my head. From its symptoms to its treatment, my depression is a gulf apart from Oliver's schizophrenia. Mine is a mood disorder, not a psychotic disorder. Like the split between animals and plants in biology, these two fundamental categories have been a cornerstone of psychiatry since the work of the German psychiatrist Emil Kraepelin in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His textbooks laid the foundation for the DSM-5. Okay, this is important. DSM-5 and the ICD-11, the latest editions of 2 reference manuals published by the American Psychiatric Association and the World Health Organization respectively, that are used by psychiatrists to diagnose hundreds of different mental disorders, each grouped into 20 or so categories: disorders of personality, psychosis, substance use, anxiety, depression, eating, sexual dysfunction, and so on. Since Sunandit is saying author is me, okay. Since the publication of the DSM-3 in 1980, psychiatric diagnosis has helped to select the right treatment for a person's symptoms. It's also made the tracking of diagnosis over time and space possible, a field known as psychiatric epidemiology. However, while these diagnostic guides might be used for doctors who must make daily decisions about care and treatment, some critics argue that diagnosis systems have actually stymied the progress of psychiatry. While other specialists of medicine have drastically reduced mortality rates from heart disease, cancer, and stroke, there haven't been similar success in mental health care. As a paper from 13 put it, mortality has not decreased for any mental illness. Prevalence rates are similarly unchanged. There are no clinical tests for diagnosis. Detection of disorders delayed well beyond generally accepted onset of pathology, and there are no well-developed preventive intervention. In short, psychiatry appears struck. This is important because all things that we have been doing since the last 2 centuries, nothing has helped yet, because same number of cases are there, nothing has been helping. Perhaps it's because the diagnostic system is faulty. This is what author feels. Perhaps it's not. He's not sure. Indeed, the fact that around half of patients with one mental disorder also fulfill the requirement of a second disorder has been well documented since the 1990s. Yeah, that is there. Like a lot of people who have a lot of confidence, sometimes we confuse them to be narcissists. देखा है कभी ऐसा? And the same people are very, they're benevolent. They are always ready to help others. They have empathy, but they look like as if they are narcissists. Has it happened with you guys? Major depression and general anxiety disorder. Substance use disorders and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. Either mental disorders really do tend to aggregate, or perhaps more likely and more worryingly, our classification system is drawing lines in unnatural places, carving nature far from its joints. So we are not sure what we're doing in the mental illness. Well, now let us try to answer the questions one by one. The first question, I think all of you have marked it right. In the entire passage, the author, the person who has this general depression, unlike his cousin, so the primary purpose is he is trying to differentiate between 2 different categories of psychiatry. So 4th is correct. All of you have done it right. That's great. Okay, cool. All of you have done it right. Coming to question number 2. So question number 2 would follow a sequence, the symptoms, diagnosis, and treatment. So in the first paragraph itself, this was a symptom. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia and treatment was clozapine. So this is correct. Okay. Why 2 is wrong? Because antidepressant is not treatment of schizophrenia, right? This is the treatment for depression. Suicidal tendencies, antidepressant, dopamine is not the treatment, it acts on it. So first is correct, all of you have done it. I think you have done it correct. Prerna first का 4 था, second का 1 है. Very good. Coming to question number 3, and somehow I feel that all of you have marked it wrong. All of you. देखो, DSM-5 और ICD-11 की पब्लिशिंग ईयर्स की बात कहीं की ही नहीं गई है. DSM-5 and ICD-11, when were they published? It's not mentioned anywhere. So answer is 4th. People have marked either 1 or 2. अब सब 4 कर रहे हैं. हाँ, चेंज कर लो आंसर सारे अपने. I was looking at it very carefully. मैक्सिमम ने 1 2 किया था. सब 4 कर दो. वेरी गुड. ओके, क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 पे आते हैं. Last sentence. Our classification system is drawing lines in unnatural places, carving nature from its joints. Implies what? Implies in the last paragraph, if you saw, we talked about that how 2 different disorders might be having same kind of symptoms, and I gave an example also like narcissism. So the correct answer is 3. शायद ये वाला भी लोगों ने बहुत से गलत मार्क किया हुआ है. सागर बता रही है. See, things look easy, you know. The thing is that you are 300 people reading it together, then I am also explaining. All are together, so that is why we don't actually understand the difficulty of the passage. The problem is the same passage given to you independently, automatically, you will be in problem. So do not, get biased. Why not 2? मतलब that's because 2 में बोला गया है कि our system is faulty. But what fault is there? वो चीज़ explain की गई है 4th में. That is why, that is why it's वो explain की 3rd में. So third has got better keywords. That is the reason. All can be inferred except or iteration. ये पहले पैराग्राफ में मालूम पड़ गया था. Okay, ruled out. Consumption of clozapine made damage. Yeah, that was there. That is why white blood cells की बात हुई थी. Clozapine are safer drugs than clozapine, of course, and there some ways not been mentioned anywhere. So 4th is correct. Most of you have got 3 correct, which is good, not a bad score. How many of you got all of it correct? How many of you got 4 correct, and how many of you got 5 correct? Coming to passage number 3, let us read the questions first of all. कोई प्रॉब्लम है उस वाले में? आई थिंक 3rd वाले में प्रॉब्लम है. सो आई विल गो टू 3rd पैराग्राफ. See, the thing is, those who have problem here that 3rd mention नहीं किया गया. It says it can be inferred. So all of you know that clozapine was given for psychotic disorders, and while these were given for depression. So of course, when you are, and you can infer this, infer it. ये आप समझ सकते हो. Inference draw कर सकते. You can kind of draw a conclusion. It would not be given directly, right? If you can conclude or infer, that's also correct. ये तो बिल्कुल clear ही था. The clozapine, in fact, 2nd में लिखा भी हुआ है. Consumption of clozapine may damage the immunity system of patient, which is not the case with olanzapine and quetiapine, right? That is why we can infer that these 2 are safer than clozapine. Is that understood, everyone? Got it? Those who had this query, tell me in the comments. Be quick. Okay, now this one, and going to the questions. You have 1 minute each for marking the key terms, and then we'll go to the passage. Well done, Argo. Coming to question number 2. By the way, in this kind of question, you should not read the options. कि जब तक ये statement पढ़ोगे ही नहीं, reading the options is not going to make any sense. That is why I am moving on to the question number 3. You can read the options here. Cool. Going to question number 4. होमिनिन्स जो पुराने ऐसे कुछ बेसिकली जो हमारे एंसेस्टर्स थे, ह्यूमन लाइक एप्स आर कॉल्ड होमिनिन्स. Alright, so I'll go back to the passage and now you have 3 to 5 minutes to read this. Your time starts now. हर्ष अभी भी गलत लिखा है. हर्ष तुम पे पोचिंग का केस लग जाएगा. समाद्रिता अगेन वेरी गुड. ऐसी बातें करने पे ना कोई ना कोई रिपोर्ट तुम्हें कर देगा. वैसे भी टाइगर बेचारे कम हो गए हैं. आजकल ऐसा इतना टाइगर कम हो गए हैं कि विकी गूगल पे यू टाइप टाइगर, पहली न्यूज़ टाइगर शो ऑफ किया जाती है, बंगाल टाइगर की नहीं आती. कितना अनफॉर्चुनेट टाइम में हम लोग रह रहे हैं, सोचो. Rishi, that can be done through the questions. Okay. I hope all of you have taken the screenshot. आस्था ने सच में गूगल कर लिया. आस्था, थोड़ा सा ह्यूमर को वो करो. ऑफ कोर्स मैं यहाँ पे ग्रिम ह्यूमर यूज कर रहा था. तुम गुस्से में बोल दो जान से मार दूंगी, तो मार थोड़ी ना देते हो. Coming to question number 2. Cool TV. Read the first 2 lines and then the questions, and you'll get to know that which ones are direct database questions. So choose that. कोई भी genre RC को difficult के easy नहीं बना था. Only questions make them easy or difficult. Coming to question number 3. Coming to question number 4. Okay, now we'll go back to the passage. How was this passage? I think this is the kind of passage you should do first if it comes in the real CAT, something like this. बिल्कुल scientific passage है, lot of statistical data is given. Easy words, easy questions, isn't it? Harsh, in this, I don't have any bonus question. Archaeologists and other scientists are beginning to unravel the story of our most intimate technology, clothing. Right. This is a very beautiful line now. The most intimate technology is clothing. Of course it is. In fact, it has become such a part of our culture that today we can't even think of living without clothes. Right. They are learning when and why our ancestors first started to wear clothes and how their adoption was crucial to the evolutionary success of our ancestors when they faced climate change on a massive scale during the Pleistocene ice ages. These investigations have revealed a new twist to the story, assigning a much more prominent new twist. What is that? Much more prominent role to clothing than previously imagined after our last ice age. Global warming prompted people in many areas to change their clothes from animal hides to textiles. This change in clothing material, I suspect, could be what triggered one of the greatest changes in the life of humanity. Not food but clothing led to the agricultural revolution. Wow. Such a bold statement to make, isn't it? My recent work shows that clothing wasn't just the unique adaptation of a more or less hairless mammal to the changing natural environments. Hairless mammal कौन है यहाँ पे? Humans. By the way, once I recommended a book called The Naked Ape. How many of you actually read it? I also shared the PDF. Like, don't read it now because you have CAT day after tomorrow, but if you read it, he has mentioned, the author, Desmond Morris, why it's naked animal, because it has got no hair, the humans. The development of clothing led to innovations with many repercussions for humanity beyond survival in cold climates. A need for portable insulation from the cold in the Paleolithic promoted major technological transitions. These include stone toolkits for working animal hides, and subsequently bone tools as pointed awls and needles to make tailored garments. Later, during the coldest stage of the last ice age, Homo sapiens in middle latitudes devised multi-layered outfits with an inner layer of underwear. Equipped with effective protection from wind chill, our species could penetrate into the frigid Arctic Circle further north than cold-adapted Neanderthals had managed to venture. From the northeast corner of Siberia, modern humans trawled across an exposed land bridge to enter Alaska by 1500 years ago, if not earlier, to likely become the first hominins to set foot in the Americas. At the Broken Mammoth site in Alaska, archaeologists have unearthed the fragile technology that made the journey possible, a 13,000-year-old eyed needle. So basically, clothes were portable insulators. Okay? Portable insulators. Right? And that is the reason why the Homo sapiens could enter the frigid climates of Siberia, Alaska, and all that stuff. Okay. Until recently, the scientific study of clothing was largely the work of physiologists who have explored its thermal properties, which are now well understood. The physiology of clothing allows us to say precisely how much clothing people must wear to survive at sub-freezing temperatures and differing wind chill levels. How many of you have traveled in negative temperatures? Anyone? -7, -8, something like that, or -20. Anyone? Early hominins in Africa had begun to harness fire between 1 and 2 million years ago, perhaps for cooking more than warmth. Fire was realized as the hominins spread into Europe and northern China, where Homo erectus, the first hominin who could walk on two legs, like two limbs, that is Homo erectus. Okay. Retreated into caves to escape wind chill. However, even if earlier hominins were more hairy than modern humans, whenever they found themselves in cold conditions beyond certain well-defined survival thresholds, they needed to carry portable insulation while out in the open. For modern humans, for modern humans, exposure times for frostbite. I was about to talk about frostbite. So those who have traveled in the sub-zero temperatures and those who will travel, never ever touch anything metallic over there. The moment you touch it, your skin will be gone. And life-threatening hypothermia can develop overnight, even in cities. From a thermal perspective, two aspects of clothing are important. First is number of layers, with each extra layer increasing total insulation value. This is important. First is number of layers. Second aspect is whether garments are fitted or tailored to enclose the body, especially the limbs. Fitted garments offer superior protection from wind chill, a major risk factor for frostbite and hypothermia. While clothing is one of the most visible of all human technologies in the field of archaeology, it's most invisible. It's almost invisible compared with stone tools surviving from the lower Paleolithic. You know what is Paleolithic? Lith. Neolithic, Paleolithic. Lith is basically stone. Lith is stone. So Stone Age. Neolithic is the later late Stone Age, and Paleolithic is the old Stone Age. More than 3 million years ago, clothes perish rapidly and rarely survive beyond a single millennium. Among the notable exceptions are a pair of 3,000-year-old trousers worn by nomadic horse riders in Central Asia and a 5,000-year-old linen tunic from ancient Egypt. Socho, linen itna purana hai, and today it is the most fashionable textile, isn't it? How many of you love wearing linen? I do actually. We have only a few precious cloth fragments from the early Neolithic in Peru and Turkey. Not a shred of clothing survives from the Pleistocene, with just a few twisted flax fibers, used perhaps for strings or thread, found in 34,000-year-old site in Georgia. All the evidence we have for Ice Age clothing is indirect, but nonetheless, this is indirect. But the available evidence shows that people had tailored clothes in the last Ice Age. They had tailored clothes. The world's oldest eye needles are found in southern Russia 40,000 years ago. And one needle in Denisova cave is said to be 50,000 years old. In the vicinity of Moscow, at a site called Sungir, 30,000 years old, human burials have thousands of beads neatly arranged on the skeletons. Russian archaeologists think that these beads are sewn on to fitted garments, including trousers with legs and shirts with sleeves. Some of the skeletons appear to have 2 layers of garments, indicating the presence of multiple layers. The Sungir burials document the world's oldest underwear. Perfect. Artworks across Eurasia begin to show people wearing clothes from that time, including the so-called Venus figurines. Venus figurines? Heard about this? The goddess Venus. Okay, so let us discuss the questions one by one. It's a very simple passage, I would say. A lot of data is given, but when we have a lot of data, the questions will be easy because all of them will be data driven majorly. So, the first question, no, not food but clothing led to the agricultural revolution. What is the ground behind this claim of the author? First is because the author believes clothing to be the greatest invention in the history of mankind. He believes that, okay. Second, he believes clothing to be the reason behind the inventions of many tools in the prehistoric era. Okay. Third, the author believes that humans invented fire to keep them warm before they invented clothes. फायर की बात तो हटा ही दो, आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं एग्रीकल्चर रेवोल्यूशन की. Fourth is clothing was primary concern of Homo sapiens for their survival, not food. Now this is also not given. But in 1 and 2, what should be marked? So humans invented many tools like needles and all to fit things together. And when they did that, what's the ground? We have to understand what can be the ground. So when they did it, when they tried to make tools to knit the garments, and these tools might have helped in the later stage for agriculture. So second is the most plausible option over here. I think all of you have marked 2. That's great. Coming to question number 2. At the Broken Mammoth site in Alaska, archaeologists have unearthed the fragile technology that made this okay. What is author trying to indicate here? क्या बताना चाह रहे हैं? एक बात तो क्लियर बताना चाह रहे हैं कि बेसिकली दो ह्यूमंस had already made, started using tools for making garments इतने पुराने टाइम पे, even 13,000 years पहले की बात है. The first is invention of needle turned out to be crucial for the first women to set foot in the Americas. Invention of needle turned out to be crucial. Crucial है कि नहीं इस बारे में बात नहीं की. That is why, because of presence of this keyword crucial, we will rule out. 1, 2. Humans started stitching clothes before they reached the Americas for the first time. Before they reached the Americas. Now this is not given anywhere. It is out of context. We cannot just infer it. So 2 is also ruled out. Coming to 3. 3 says hominins started using clothing according to their climatic needs even before 13,000 years, which was essential for their survival. ठीक है, 3 सही लग रहा है. Let us read 4 also. Humans moved out from cold northeastern corners of Siberia to Alaska in order to find warmer. नहीं, ये तो बात ही नहीं है. Warm. Basically, 3rd is the correct one. That humans started using clothing बहुत पहले because it was essential for their survival. That too in cold climate. So 3rd is correct. I think all of you have done it right. महमद को मामा अर्थ पढ़ लिया हर्ष. यार ऐसा मत करना वहाँ जाके. Reebok को reboot ना बढ़ देना. Which of the following can certainly be inferred from the passage? First says hominins in the Ice Age had a good understanding of the physiology of the clothing. Can we infer it? Ice Age में तो नहीं था, हमें पता ही नहीं है उसके बारे में ज़्यादा. That is why we cannot infer it. Hominins had begun to harness fire before they knew anything about the clothing. Okay. अफ्रीका में फायर की बात चली थी because of cooking. That is given. Let us read others also. It was Homo erectus, I believe, right? That is why second was not correct. For early hominins, cooking was the only way of harnessing fire, not warmth. Cooking was the only purpose of harnessing. Only is an extreme term, but I'll mark question mark on 3, and in absence of a better option, I'll go with 3, otherwise 4. While out in the open, hominins might have carried some portable insulation to protect themselves from the chill. Portable insulation, of course. That is what clothes are. That is what defines clothes. So 4th is correct one here. I think all of you have done it right. Coming to question number 4. Which of the following is true regarding the archaeological evidence of clothing in the prehistoric era? Option A talks about we do not have much evidence of clothing because clothes perish rapidly and do not survive beyond a single millennium. In the passage it is given they barely survive. Do not survive की बात नहीं है. So do not is an extreme term. It is likely that won't survive, and because of this this is not true. Okay, do not survive is an extreme term. So we won't go with first. Coming to second one. A pair of 3,000-year-old trousers worn by nomadic horse riders in Central Asia and a 5,000-year-old linen tunic from ancient Egypt are the only available archaeological evidence of clothing from that era. Only? No, there are others also. Others also are there. So, of course, 2 is not correct. Third, the evidence we have for Ice Age clothing not direct, but is enough to prove that people had tailored clothes in the last Ice Age. That is right. जो भी एविडेंस बचा है हमारे पास उससे मालूम पड़ जाता है. काफ़ी नहीं है, बट जितना उसे मालूम पड़ जाता है. That is totally given. Most of that in Russia, where the cold fabric survives longer, that is totally irrelevant, out of context. We'll go with option 3. I hope all of you got that right. सारे सही हो गए यहाँ पे. Coming to the next passage. Today we are doing things really fast, isn't it? हर्ष रुक जाओ, इस पैसेज के बाद ब्रेक ले लेंगे. Let 2 hours pass. You have the passage here. First of all, I'll let you go through the questions. Ashmit, VA. हर्ष, कैट हैज गॉट ऑल लेवल्स ऑफ आरसीज. इस चक्कर में पढ़ो ही मत कि कैट लेवल है कि नहीं, ये है वो है. ऑल दी आरसीज आर कैट लेवल. ये लोगों ने एक वो बना दिया कि कैट है तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट होना चाहिए. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. द मेन प्रॉब्लम इन कैट इज, यू नो व्हाट, handling the pressure, not the questions. Okay, if you want to do the VA first, so let us do a few questions of VA and then we'll take the break. बदन पानी की बोतल है. चलो, this is odd one out. Try to do it. Okay, so those who have marked 2 or 3 or 4, tell me your reasoning, your line of reasoning. Okay. People are saying that second is the odd one out because second talks about second priority और second priority के पहले first priority दिखानी बताई जानी चाहिए. Okay. That is the reason. Is it possible that this was taken from a paragraph in which first priority was discussed and then second came and then the other statements followed? Is that possible? Can that happen? संगल बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हो, मैं तो पूछ रहा हूँ बस, आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग. Okay, tell me something. Second talks about to make the system as rivalry proof as possible, and the fourth one actually talks about that rivalry, isn't it? The competition is rivalry only. The competition between US and China. Don't you think 2 and 4 are connected somehow? What is happening? Protagonists are US and China, of course. Well, okay. चलो छोड़ दो सीक्वेंस क्या है. Let's talk about simple things in this question. Okay, let's make it as simple as possible. See, try to understand this. This talks about doubts about globalization have grown as a result of US-China trade conflict. All this stuff is happening. Okay, so यूएस चाइना ट्रेड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट से जो रिजल्ट आ रहा है उस बारे में बात की गई है फर्स्ट इन दिस स्टेटमेंट फर्स्ट. स्टेटमेंट फर्स्ट इज बेसिकली इट टॉक्स अबाउट द रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस ट्रेड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. ऑलराइट, ओके. सेकेंड टॉक्स अबाउट ग्लोबल सिस्टम शुड बी मेड एज राइवलरी प्रूफ एज पॉसिबल. ये इनकी प्रायोरिटी है. ये होगी या नहीं होगी वो कंफर्म नहीं है, बिकॉज रिगार्डलेस ऑफ हु विन्स द प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शन ग्रेट पावर कॉम्पिटिशन विल स्टिल बी देयर. एंड कोल्ड वॉर एनालॉजी इज मिसलीडिंग बिकॉज दे मस्ट हैव इन द पैसेज दे मस्ट हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट दे मस्ट हैव कंपेयर्ड दिस सिचुएशन विद द Cold War situation. But this is misleading because today's protagonists are even their economic partners because they have some kind of partnership as well. So second, third and fourth talk about things being rivalry proof, but how it is not becoming rivalry proof and how this analogy is misleading. So basically rivalry proof करने की जो बात है वो नहीं हो पा रही है, इस बारे में बात second, third and fourth में किया गया है. And first talks about the result of the conflict. So first talks about an altogether different thing, while second, third and fourth talk about the why this system being rivalry proof is not happening soon. All right. The answer is first. This was difficult, I know. See, odd one out is the most difficult of all the VA questions. जब समझ में clearly आ रहा हो तभी करो, otherwise skip कर दो. All right. You should always do para summary. That is the easiest one. Then go to parajumbles. हालांकि odd one out parajumbles there is no negative mark, it's theta, so doesn't really matter. Coming to next one. चलो एक हम कर लेते हैं. This summary, para summary. Okay. Para summary is the easiest one. साग्निक पीछे एंड ऑड वन आउट आर काइंड ऑफ एनालॉगस, बट पीछे फिर भी थोड़ा मिल जाता है थोड़ा बहुत. ऑड वन आउट इज द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट. आर्यन लास्ट टाइम ओ नहीं आया था, उसके पहले आया था, उसकी जगह भी फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स आ गए हैं, तो ऑड वन आउट नहीं आया तो अच्छा ही है. Yeah, Nikhil, you should not skip because there is no negative marking. Shayan, nobody knows that this year they will be doing it or not. Okay. There are so many people, only 6 people have answered the question till now. 6, 7 people. By the way, today was the last date of filling SP Gen form. How many of you filled it? आज 5 बजे तक था. Let us read this. Detent cannot be taken forward. So I'll just mark the key terms. Cannot be taken forward by waiving conditionalities and ultimatums in the face of the other. Okay. The productive and progressive approach is to take all contentious issues on board, tackle the less difficult problems, and get them out of the way. Engage the ex-antagonist on the more complicated issues, and meanwhile let relations develop all around. This must be done in the areas of ये भी important है, which areas? Trade, investment, economic cooperation, cultural relations, sport, but above all in people to people relations. सिर्फ अगर ये भी होगा तब भी हमारा काम बन जाएगा. These are keywords. The closing of the gap on the issue of the gas pipeline seems propitious. The unprecedented grant of Pakistani visas to 18 Israeli journalists to visit important centers in the state of Punjab is a fine gesture, but that should help to improve the atmosphere between the Israel and Pakistan. So this is basically the example of what is being discussed in the previous few lines. Only Moksh has filled. Okay, Moksh. Well, so let us try to, whatever I have underlined or the key points, okay, of this passage. First says D10 cannot be carried forward by striking antagonistic postures. ठीक है, ये बात डिस्कस हो रही है. But by adopting conciliatory measures to solve outstanding issues, improvement should be made on various fronts. Various fronts बोल दिया. Those various fronts are what I have underlined: trade, investment, economic cooperation, etc. There is various fronts. Okay. So see, cannot be carried forward by striking. ये बात भी यहाँ पे कैप्चर की गई है. Adopting conciliatory measures भी कैप्चर किया गया है. Outstanding issues, ठीक है, various fronts, and the more tractable issues should be tackled in order to develop confidence. That is people-to-people relations, isn't it? That has been taken care of. Certain steps taken in the recent past augur well for Israel-Pakistan ties. This has also been mentioned. So first has captured all the things. First looks like correct summary to me, but let us read other options in absence of a better option. I'll go with first. Second talks about easing tensions do not come about by proposing conditions and ultimatums, but rather by adopting a give and take policy. Though the more complicated issues must be solved immediately, the less complicated must also be taken to find a lasting solution. So as you can see, in option 2, the second point, the various fronts, has not been mentioned. That is why 2 is wrong. 2 is definitely wrong. Coming to 3. D10 does not come by introducing conditionality by solving the issues at hand. The less contentious issues can be solved easily, and improvement in the fields such as trade, etc. contribute to do this. Okay. However, this should not be at the cost of people-to-people relations, which is the cornerstone of lasting peace. यार एक बात बताओ. This should not be at the cost of people-to-people relations. जबकि यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है सब कुछ करो इन ऑल द एरियाज ऑफ ट्रेड इन्वेस्टमेंट दिस, बट इन सबसे जरूरी क्या है कि ये भी करो. अब इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि अगर आप ये सब करेंगे तो ये यू विल डू इट द कॉस्ट ऑफ पीपल टू रिलेशंस. सो दिस एड्स एन अनवारंटेड assumption. Okay, cost of people, this adds an unwarranted assumption. That is why 3 is wrong. Sorry to say, 3 is wrong. A lot of you have marked that. Coming to 4th, D10 between nations improves by solving contingent issues and improving bilateral ties in the field of trade, etc. Solving gas pipeline issue and the issue of visa to Israel. तो इसमें तो वाली बात की नहीं गई है. The first thing, that is why 4th is not a better option than 1. 1 is the most suitable, most plausible option. How many of you got 1 correct? No one. अब जाके लिख रहे हैं लोग 1. Why is that happening? ये काफ़ी मेरे को डिसअपॉइंटिंग लगा. एवरीबडी मार्क 3. आई डोंट नो व्हाई. Farzan, no, that's not the only thing. There are 4 different key points over there. Okay, Farzan. So the option which encompasses most of them would be the correct one. All right, Farzan. Vishal got it correct. Well done, Vishal. चलो और देखते हैं. Let's do this one also. हाँ, काजल देखो, ये मत करो ना. लोगों ने 3 बोल दिया. Don't you have confidence in yourself? Tell me which one is correct. Okay. Traditional teaching of medical profession requires doctor to do everything legitimate in his power to try to help his patient. This is the Hippocratic Oath of Medicine. Okay, this is the first key statement over here. Best possible treatment must be given irrespective of whether or not the doctor likes the patient, whatever, you know. So, ये सब चीजें हैं. That is the Hippocratic Oath. Him or her feckless or ill because of self-inflicted disease or injury or a confirmed even vicious criminal. In our contemporary market economy with new and very expensive high-tech medicine, this is a keyword, a key idea, doctors are repeatedly being reminded by those responsible for managing healthcare that funds available are limited. This is very important, and the best treatment cannot be available to all. So this thing is very important over here. Let us try to mark the correct one. चलो देखते हैं. First one says, according to medical age, doctor must extend best treatment. ये बात बिल्कुल clear है. Even if it's a vicious illness, okay. Wow. So first has captured all the essence. Is that so? तो ऐसा करते हैं कि first को हम question mark लगा देते हैं. In presence of a better option, we'll go with that. Otherwise, we'll go with one. Okay. Coming to second. Doctor must give the best treatment to patient, even if it's a notorious criminal or whether illness is due to self. ये तो एक ही idea discuss किया है. Only second idea. It's not complete. Second is ruled out. Third, doctor extend the best treatment to patient, whether this. I'm the best treatment to only those who are wealthy. Those who are wealthy. ये तो बिना बात का assumption है ना? तो इसको भी हटा देते हैं. Fourth, according to medical ethics, doctor should extend best treatment to patient. He likes him or not. Expensive medicine does not permit doctor to extend the same treatment to all due to paucity of funds. All due to paucity of funds. See. The thing is, medicine is expensive, but at the very same time, there is one important thing that the funds are in healthcare. The funds available are limited, which is not given in first, but mentioned in fourth. That is why fourth will be a better option than one. Sorry to say again, first is wrong. First and fourth are close, of course. People will either mark 1 or 4. 4 is better because 4 actually talks about the paucity of funds in the healthcare. Clear? Fourth is correct over here. देख रहे हो, एक छोटा सा कीवर्ड आपका आंसर गलत कर सकता है. या मुदित, one more. KK, that is how options are made. प्रीतम क्या कोई डिफिकल्ट क्या? अभी सब लोग आरसी को इजी बोल रहे थे, अभी डिफिकल्ट हो गया. निखिल, इट्स द सेम थिंग इन कैट. पॉजिटिव मीन्स लैक. हर्षित, कम होता है जो. डॉक्टर ने हेल्थ केयर के फंड्स, हर्ष, हेल्थ केयर जो हमारा हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम है, वहाँ फंड्स की कमी है कि हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें कर ही नहीं पाते. आदित्य, बिकॉज वी ओवर थिंक. देखो, रिश्काई, I don't know what Rishkai means. She has said, lesson today is always go with the first instinct. The simplest explanations are often the best explanations. You remember that from the series Kala Pani? What comes to your mind first is mostly, majorly right. that is something which I have also seen in my life. ओ ऋषिका, तो ये रिश्खा ही क्यों कर दी है? ऋषिका was better, no? Why do make an anagram which is not even meaningful? Okay. Scientists from the Pune-based Center for Genetic Molecular Biology and the Asian Institute of Gastroenterology, we're not concerned about these things, Hyderabad, analyzed various genes linked to pancreatitis. Okay, ये थोड़ा सा important है. While one of the mutated genes, PUSA1, was earlier linked to the disease, the second mutated gene, PUSRA1, catalytic trypsinogen, which plays a key role in digestion of proteins, was for the first time shown to be playing a role in disease pathogenesis in Indians. It was also found that the onset of disease was earlier in individuals having the PUSA1 gene as compared to those having only PUSRA1. Okay. देखते हैं. These are the key ideas that I have mentioned over here. First is PUSRA1 gene mutation is the major cause of pancreatitis in disease in Indians. Okay. इसके अंदर कुछ missing here, isn't it? It has not talked about the earlier gene, that is PUSA1. It's not there. I'll just put a question mark. In presence of better option, I'll go with that. So I'm not sure about 1. Coming to 2. Pancreatitis disease sets in when mutated genes PUSA1 and PUSRA1 are present in a person. Mutated genes PUSA1. जब दोनों होंगे तो we are not sure because it hasn't talked about the role of the gene in digestion of proteins, etc. The second is incomplete, that is why second can be ruled out. Coming to 3, PUSA1 gene mutation is the predominant cause of pancreatitis and disease in Indians. Predominant cause. अब बचा हमारे पास four. PUSA1 gene mutation affects digestion of proteins, thereby causing pancreatitis and disease in Indians. Well, there's one thing that is very much important here. It was also found that the onset of the disease was earlier in individuals having only the PUSA1 gene as compared to those having only PUSRA1. This is the most important thing, which means PUSRA1 wala to first will be ruled out. Coming to 3 and 4, PUSA1 gene mutation is the predominant cause. PUSA1 gene mutation affects the digestion of proteins, thereby causing pancreatitis and disease in Indians. So if you compare 3 and 4, 4 is more specific has better ideas, so we'll go with option 4. Pusa 1 and Pusra 1 both were responsible for digestion of proteins. Pusra 1 लगा कि वो important है, लेकिन बाद में ये मालूम पड़ा कि Pusa 1 gene was more prominent. That is why I will go with the mutation of Pusa 1 gene, that is option 4. बहुत लोग गलत हो गया है, I think. People are majorly marking 2 or 3. Cool. A very brilliant question this is now. छोटा सा है but कितना अच्छा है. Akash Singh, is this CAT level? What do you mean? Do you think it's difficult or easy? रुद्रनारायण नहीं, मैं तो एक्टिंग कर रहा था यार, मुझे तो आंसर पहले से पता है, मैंने ही बनाए हैं क्वेश्चंस. I was just acting, I was playing along with your mind. That is how you teach, right? Otherwise तो मैं सीधा आंसर बोल दूं. Okay. Pusa 1 doesn't play any role. Akash, have you read it clearly? It was also found that the onset of disease was earlier in individuals having only the Pusa 1 gene as compared to those having Pusra 1. Clearly लिखा हुआ है सामने, पढ़ तो लो. अच्छा, क्षितिज ने गलत एक चीज पढ़ ली है, सी. Pusa 1 and Pusra 1, यहाँ पे एक प्रॉब्लम ये है कि ये विच किसके लिए यूज किया गया है ना? ये प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है कि Pusa 1 के लिए था, Pusra 1 के लिए था. I get that, I understand that. So this can be framed in a better way. It was basically for those both of them, कि ये दोनों जीन्स का ऐसे हो रहा था. ठीक है, तो that can be a kind of, I would say, confusion. But yeah, at the very same time, confusion ये तो नहीं होना चाहिए कि Pusra 1 was responsible. It is Pusa 1 only. That is something which you are sure of. Cool. Next question. Parajumble. Who needs a break? एक और कर लें. By the way, after the break, how many of you are going to come over here? I don't think anybody, not anybody, but I think a lot of people will just go away. No break? Okay, cool then. Let's solve this one. रिदम क्लास 7:30 तक तो चलेगी ही चलेगी. I think this is an easy one. But researchers, this odd organ, praying mantises, females of this species. So C looks like the opening statement. Let us mark C and Read it. Praying mantises with their angular features, huge eyes, and centaur posture often seem a bit alien. ठीक है. Females of this species, this का है पता नहीं, so of course D cannot follow C. This odd organ का है, of course it cannot follow. C. A says, but researchers have recently found one mantis species that takes this outwardly quality. So alien, that is outwardly quality. So A will follow C for sure. To the next level. What is the next level? Females of this species have an inflatable pheromone gland that protrudes from the back of the abdomen like a green Y-shaped balloon. This odd organ is unlikely. C A D V. Very easy one, isn't it? All of you must have done it right. यहाँ भी गलत किया कुछ लोगों ने. C D B A क्यों बोल रहे हो? प्रेइंग मैंटिस के अंदर एक स्पीसी है. You know, it should be CADB. By the way, do you know what are pheromones? Anyone? What are pheromones? Who is from biology background? I love this word, pheromones. I have used this in many of my stories. Not many, but one of my stories. And pheromone is what is pheromone? Who will tell me that? Have you guys realized that every person has a unique smell? वो deodorant या perfume कोई भी लगा दे या cologne कोई भी लगा दे, that is not the thing. Of course, Madad. Smell gland. No, it's a smell basically. Pheromone is a chemical that is oozed, by different organisms. Even humans do that. So have you ever noticed that different humans have different smells? Nowadays we kind of cover it with artificial cologne. We do that, but if we do not use any kind of cologne, any kind of perfume or deodorant, there is some kind of smell specific to specific individuals. ये सब लोग सूंघ पाते कि नहीं सूंघ पाते? कई लोग नहीं भी सूंघ पाते होंगे. It's not that everybody can smell it and get the idea. Ankit, not the species, individuals की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. Individuals. Even in art, in poetry, this has been used. If I try to, okay, let me recall something. There's a movie Devdas. Chandramukhi says Devdas ki खुशबू अभी भी इन तकियों पे है. Do you remember that? There is a old movie called Perfume, in which a person became so much obsessed with pheromones that he started carving it out from the bodies of young women. Remember that? So this pheromone is basically, it attracts people to different people. It's in kind of intimate bonding sort of chemical, and this is majorly sexual, but it also has a lot of things to do with friendship and everlasting relationships. Pheromones. And this is someone talked about mothers. Pranav, right? So mothers have specific pheromones with children, like the children of that specific woman. They are very much attached to that pheromone, and so is the mother. Children have different kind of smells. You must have noticed that. Probably you won't like that smell of any child, but mothers do like that smell. Okay. Next question. We'll take a break after this question. Nandan, if you actually want to smell the pheromones, you don't take a bath for, like, don't bathe for 5 days or a week. Okay, don't do that. And after that, just wash yourself with water. Do not use soap. Just wash yourself with water, some sponge. There will be some kind of smell left on your body. That is basically smell of your pheromone. I told you the secret. But the modern technology has totally, killed that fascination of the natural and raw fascination of humans. अब हम सबको डियो चाहिए या परफ्यूम चाहिए. Anyways, going back to this question. His ancestors, whose we don't know, Baruch. Okay, यही पहला होगा. Although I have been educated, ये शायद Baruch ही बोल रहा है, but gradually he began to distance. All right. So B is the opening statement for sure because Baruch has been introduced. Baruch, a studious, highly intelligent child, received an intensely traditional Jewish education. He went to the local Jewish school, the yeshiva, and followed all the Jewish high holidays and rituals. Although I have been educated, but gradually he began distance from himself, his ancestors. पहले आएगी, बाद में फिर D आएगा. So of course, his ancestors were Sephardic Jews who had fled the Iberian Peninsula following the Catholic-inspired expulsion of 1492. I'll just write A over here. I'm not sure A will come after B or not. Let us read the other options as well. Coming to C. Although I have been educated from boyhood in the accepted beliefs concerning scripture, he later wrote with characteristic caution, I have felt bound in the end to embrace other views. Yeah, but gradually he began to distance himself from the faith of his ancestors. Okay? So D will come after that, and C is something that he has now accepted and he is telling that this is why I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing. So B, A, D, C would be the most plausible sequence. Again, I think it's an easy one. A lot of you have done it correctly. So do you guys need a break? 10 minutes? Okay, a break of 10 minutes. The time is 6:30. We'll meet at 6:40. All right. Cool. फ्लो टूट जाए बात तो सही है, लेकिन ज़्यादातर लोग यस बोल रहे हैं, तो विल गो विद वी आर अ डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री, राइट? लेट्स हैव सम, इवन आई विल हैव सम वाटर एंड देन विल रीस्टार्ट. here comes the next Parajumble. Is everyone there? Here's the next question. और ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस मत लो, कैट कोई इतना डिफिकल्ट भी नहीं होता. कैट का एग्ज़ाम बेसिकली पेशेंस का एग्ज़ाम है और इनर स्ट्रेंथ का एग्ज़ाम है. डर से कौन जीत सकता है उसका एग्ज़ाम है ये. The exam of UPSC is about knowledge, but this exam is this exam of character. I fashionably call it the exam of life. ओह नाइस अश्मित, सही बोल रही हैं वो. Adhiraj, who is Jitu Bhaiya? BADC is totally correct. Spinoza's fully fleshed out views were to be expressed in his great work, The Ethics. So Spinoza and his work, Ethics, has been introduced. And then what is there in Ethics? It's there in A. He directly challenged the main tenets of Judaism in particular and organized religion in general. Okay. And then it talks about the representation of God. Okay, perfect. BADC. I don't think even I have to explain that. BADC is perfectly fine. Okay, so we have done a lot of parajumbles and paragraph summary. Let us do a few odd one out. Let's do this one, Adam Smith. Who was Adam Smith, by the way? Yeah, father of modern economics. Right. MDI, yes. It's just next to my office. I've been there a lot of times. They've got a really nice canteen. Thanks, Dusky guy. Once your cat is over, I'm going to write 2 books back to back. That's my plan in December. Akhand Single and Illegal Maths. थोड़ा मैं भी रिलीव फील करूँगा. Everyone says 4. Why? What's the reason? Four is correct over here because in all the other statements it talks about how private benefit might result in public benefits. Okay. And fourth talks about the free market, and that is basically the fourth one is basically the recent trend of the market. So yeah, fourth is odd one out. Well done. Pawan, yeah, you can wear full sleeve t-shirts. Cool. So all of you done it correctly. Let's do this one. Nandan, of course, you can wear shorts. That's what I do normally. All the options talk about the appearance, the outward appearance of people, right? Whereas the third one talks about the all that things about judiciary and criminal justice, something like that, right? So third one is odd one out. All of you have done it correctly. Some people are marking 5. Why? See, China, the government has planned to use surveillance cameras to identify track ethnic minorities. So how do they identify? By reading the expressions, the facial expressions. That is how, they identify and track the ethnic minorities. Clear? So it's basically connected to the other options in which, see, in second option it's clearly mentioned that machine learning algorithms have promised governments and private companies to power to glean all sorts of information about people's opinions. तो गवर्नमेंट पीपल अपीयरेंस करके क्या 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 देखना चाहेगी? Of course, to track the minorities. That is one of the things that they can do. Cool. 3 is correct. I think we are done with all the VA questions. Now 2 RCs are left. Let us go to that. चलो ये करते हैं, alcoholism. Yeah, Madit, okay. Point noted. So here you have, first of all, I will show you the questions and you can mark your keywords, write them down, and then we'll go to the passage. You can also take a screenshot of the passage. Okay, here is the first question. The primary purpose of the passage is to do what? We'll read the options later. Why? Because this can be answered only by reading the entire passage and we should not be biased towards any option. That is why we'll directly read the question, not the options over here. Question number 2. The passage contains information that answers which of the following questions? The first is, what are some of these psychosocial problems associated with alcoholism? So the keywords are psychosocial problems and alcoholism. Clear? Second, is that clear? Which has proven more effective in the treatment of alcoholism? Aversion, conditioning, or reinforcement? So the keyword is effective, treatment of alcoholism, aversion, conditioning, reinforcement. This set has already been done. Where? Tushar and Deepak. कहाँ किया है इसको? In one of the mocks. Crash or IMBBC. Okay, then I will just leave it. Let us do another set. Asia. To-do list for tomorrow. To-do list for tomorrow is, you know what, basically once in the morning just revise all the formulae once. After that, just chill, meet the people you like the most important being your family and the friends who are well-wishers. Just do that. Be surrounded with positive people, positive emotions, everything should be positive. And sleep early, drink loads of water, do all that stuff, you know, just do things which are non-academic, things which make you feel happy. Just do that. पानी पीना बहुत ज़्यादा बहुत ज़रूरी है. अब बहुत मीठा मत खाना कल, भूल के भी, और परसों भी, कैट के पहले. But I don't think, you know, see, this is a very subjective question. Different people have different approaches. I do not do it. Last day कुछ नहीं करता मैं. एक बार रिवीजन कर लिया सुबह सुबह, मतलब कर लेता था पहले, and then I just had very light food, proper sleep, that's it. मीठा खाने से इंसुलिन तुरंत शूट करता है, then you will have sugar rush. सुबह थोड़ी दही खा लो, दैट इज़ ओके, बट ज़्यादा नहीं कि पता लगा सारे पेस्ट्री खा गए, केक खा के रात में बैठे बैठे. डू नॉट डू दैट. लवीना, यू कैन वियर जीन्स. आज सेक्शन दे दो, आज जो करना है कर दो. थोड़ा बहुत सुबह कर लेना, कल पढ़ाई फिर छोड़ देना. नो रुतवी, दे वोंट allow you to carry water bottle. See, Samadrita has already done, and you guys are busy in talking to me. Yeah, Gopesh, I'm writing CAT this time, this year. Yeah, Lashmi, you can attempt one mock tomorrow. Yeah, that can be done. Only one mock. That too in the morning. ज़्यादा शाम को मत करना. Ankit, it is there. I think it is there on the iQuanta group, and even the website. You can download it. It's a complete formula book. आते हुए शादी कब कर रहे हैं? क्या कर रहा है मेरी शादी से? Nobody should get married until they are completely on their own. Pritish, you can carry a bag, but that bag won't be safe. It's better to have someone outside the premises, your friend or someone, or a car in which you can pack it. Vadani, my slot is second. Okay. All of you have done it, and nobody's interested in studying right now, I think. Keys are allowed. सुरंदित, आइडली नहीं लेना चाहिए, उसका असर कुछ देर रहता है, आधे घंटे, फिर एकदम से तुम्हारे एनर्जी लेवल क्रैश कर जाएंगे. And then you'll feel like, withdrawal kind of thing. Do not do that. कोई भी mind altering substance मत लो. Here comes the question. The first question. हाँ मोक्ष, slot analysis second है मेरा, तो I'll do the second slot analysis of course. साहिल 500-600 बैठे होते हैं, depends on the size of the hall. Coming to question number 2. Exactly, brother. लेकिन अच्छे से सोना और ठीक से पानी पीना ज़रूरी है. Not just an exam, all the times. Tell me the answers. दीपक भजन नहीं करना, हवन मत करना पूरा दिन, ना प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी. हाँ मनीषा पहन सकते हो. Coming to question number 3. Pawan, where is the center? In some other city? Yeah, Vishal, any big word is there, it always has a context. Just look at the context and move ahead. Why nobody's answering? What happened? And Pawan, where are you right now? Coming to question number 4. किसी का पढ़ने मन लग नहीं रहा, मैं देख रहा हूँ. Only 10-12 people are answering. वैसे it happens. It's normal. When I don't feel like studying. मतलब CAT कितने पहले या किसी भी एग्जाम कितने पहले. Okay, Ashmit, we'll do that. All right, Pawan. Okay then. Happy journey, safe reaching. Take care, Pawan. All the best. Tomorrow I'll come live once. Bye bye then. Everybody say all the best to Pawan and to all people who. Coming to question number 5. वेदांत मेरा करनाल बाईपास रोड पे है. Okay, so now I'll go back to the passage. Asia is not a predefined fixed city. Asia is a journey of correlation and pluralizations. Pluralizations, basically diversity. Okay, that is what it means. Pluralizations. Well, it is a plural process of reflection on the dynamics of self, culture, and society. But much of social theory, as it rules in the academic corridors of Europe, Asia, and the world, is Eurocentric. But now there is an epochal need for realizing social theories as parts of planetary conversations. Eurocentric to hai because of colonialism, right? All of you understand that. Well, while some may look at it in terms of the rise of Asia and the decline of Euro-America, our challenge here is not to replace one ethnocentrism and exclusivism with another, but make social theory a field of mutual learning and dialogue of presuppositions. Dominant social theories coming from the West have their own presuppositions. This is important. For example, the presupposition about the centrality of power in Weber and Foucault and its justification and application varieties of critical theories such as that of Jürgen Habermas. But these presuppositions are not universally shared as reigning presuppositions of self, culture, and society. For example, in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, how many of you have read this book? This is my favorite book. I love it the most. Of all the books I have read, this is my favorite. Well, a text in spiritual traditions of India, it is written Shraddha Maya Ayam Purusha Jo Jat Shraddha Sa Abhasa. This Purusha, the human person, is characterized by Shraddha, capacity for love and reverence. One is what one loves or reveres. These lines also offer some presuppositions about self, culture, and society, and urge us to realize that it is not only power, but also Shraddha, reverence or love, which characterizes being human in the fields of self, culture, and society. For a fuller relation of social theory, there needs to be dialogues between presuppositions of power and Shraddha. This is the most important part of this first paragraph, as important elements in the dynamic of self, culture, and society, rather than one-sided assertion and exclusion. Cool. So not only power is important, also Shraddha is important, the reverence or the love. Well, we need to open classical and contemporary social theories which are predominantly Euro-American to multiple dialogues between such as Asian dialogues, which then become part of planetary conversations. In planetary conversations, we take part in dialogues without privileging or a priori ethnocentric points of view and open ourselves our locational insights and presuppositions to mutual interpretation, sharing, questioning, and transformations, where much of the East-West dialogue is still imprisoned in the existing logic of a priori fixation and unconscious colonial constitution of our globe. Planetary conversations seek to transform these two conditions of mutual dialogues and interpenetration of presuppositions. Basically, this one talks about that how it is important to have a dialogue between all the ethnicities, planetary means the global conversation is important. Harshit, presupposition जो मतलब आपने पहले ही assume कर लिया, that is presupposition. Well, with this brief prelude, we can begin this dialogue with the concept of the self in Asian countries, the notion of self as a field. This is important. This field is not static but dynamic. It is a field of flows of many rivers and streams. Our self is like the rice field. It is a field where chi, dynamic energy, flows. From both the Confucian traditions as well as Kashmiri Shaivism, Confucian is Chinese, right? Kashmiri Shaivism, you know that, we get a view of dynamic energy. By the way, do you guys know that Kashmir in ancient time, Kashmir was full of, still it is full of valleys and all that snow, but in ancient times this was the place where people went to meditate for a higher enlightenment and for a higher healing point of view. People went to Kashmir and then they settled over there and they came to be known as Kashmiri Pandits. A lot of people from India went to Kashmir, and this is the entire thing which was happening 3 decades back. The view of dynamic energy and consciousness, recent social theory coming from scholars as Pierre Bourdieu, also emphasize the same as a significance of field in understanding society. At the same time, Srimad Bhagavad Gita also talks about the yoga of the field and the knower of the field. While Bourdieu's conception of field is primarily socio-political in the Gita, the concept of field as well as the knower of field is socio-psychological as well as social-spiritual. Now, this passage itself talks a lot of things about Gita, right? So, Gita, people say it is the most complete book. It was written much before Pierre Bourdieu and other philosophers, and it talks about each and everything, socio-political, psychological, socio-spiritual, and everything. Right? Yeah. It is enriching here to have mutually transforming dialogues between these conceptions of field and thus deepen our conceptions and relation of self, culture, and society as fields. This passage majorly talks about the same thing again and again with different examples. Self is neither a peak nor a cliff. In individualism, self is looked at as a cliff, but in Asian traditions and cultures, there is a relational view of self which is at the same time ecological and transcendental. This is important, the Asian point of view. Self is the meeting point of the horizontal and the vertical, just like a point in geometry, right? Individualism is at the root of modern social theory and society, but dialogues with Asian traditions help us realize the trans-individual dimension of individuals as also a trans-social dimension of society. This is important. like in the West, it's all about individual as right. मैं individual हूँ मुझे कोई क्यों रोक रहा है कुछ करने के लिए. You must have heard that. That is what individualism means. It's a good practice, but at the very same time, this can also start making generations less empathetic and less disciplined. That is there, and it is happening in India as well. You know, in this culture, the what do you say? The subcontinent, the Indian subcontinent, divided by huge Himalaya, which is basically metaphor. You know, and so it is happening due to globalization and due to social media that individualism has become the core, and that is why people are less connected these days. That is my commentary, not from the perspective of this passage. I hope you guys understand that, right? In his discussion of the work of Thai, because I was watching one of, I don't know, it was some video somewhere, and there was a girl and who wanted to, so when you watch things, people want to become doctors, engineers, managers, artists, or whatever. So that girl was saying, I want to become Sunny Leone. And the director and scriptwriter were trying to justify that it is a good choice because it is full of individualism. So I normally appreciate all sorts of art, but not that. So that is what is happening these days. In his discussion of the work of Thai social thinker and Buddhist social theorist, Sulak Shivaraksha John Clammer, Clammer tells us that Shivaraksha helps us in understanding that individuals have a trans-individual dimension. In the words of Clammer, in much the same way that Louis Dumont has argued. Yeah. Am I audible? Has argued that Western individualism has its roots in Christianity, and that the consequences of this individualism are profound for the arrangement of society and assumptions about how relationships within it work. So Sulak is arguing for trans-individualism that arises from the Buddhist roots and which has profound implications for the ordering of society. In modern, Keshav SP Jain red line is over. It was at 5 p.m. Just check it once if they have extended. Okay. Dialogues with Asian traditions enable social theory to conceptualize and realize individuals and societies at the same time part of nature and transcendence. There are also streams in Western theoreticians which look at individuals and societies in relationship with nature and transcendence, but modern social theory has not nurtured itself. See, modern theory has not nurtured itself with such streams of vision practice. So modern theory is actually obsolete, outdated. I won't say it's progressive, isn't it? For example, in Geet, we find ways of going beyond the modern enlightenment black box and realize self and society is part of nature and transcendence. But modern sociology has followed Newton rather than Geet, but border crossing dialogues can contribute to memory work. For example, dialogue between modern social theory and Asian traditional practices and reflection on can contribute to creative memory work. A lot of things have been discussed again and again, right? Work and retrieval of traditions of non-dualistic relationships between, this is important. Retrieval of traditions of non-dualistic relationships between individual, society, and nature and transcendence. This passage might look difficult to a lot of you, right? Isn't it? Because it has got a lot of philosophical terms, a lot of jargons. All of a sudden, people are not commenting. What happened? But in that case, see, that's why I told you, read the questions first. Automatically, you'll be focused on the most important parts of the RC. Theme of first paragraph. Okay, question 1 is, what is it? Theme of the first paragraph of the passage. Social theory is not unitary. It is plural process of reflection and dynamics on the self, culture, and society. So yeah, that was there mentioned, but is it the theme? We are not sure. Let's see the other options as well. 2. European presuppositions are power-centric, while Asians are self-centric. 3. Social theory in the academic corridors of Europe is that Asia and the world are Eurocentric. This need for realizing social theories is parts of planetary conversations. Okay. Yeah. So the fourth one is actually the theme, while first, second and third are the reasons that why we have this needs of planetary conversations. So 1, 2, 3 serve as the reason and 4th serves as the theme of the first paragraph. How many of you got that correct? Why nobody is commenting? What happened? Question number 2. The author makes all the points in the passage except. First is classical and contemporary social theories should be open to multiple dialogues and can be incorporated as planetary conversation. Yeah, this is something which author makes this point, right? So, and here the key word is except. So I can rule this out. In planetary conversations, East and West should open themselves, their locational insights and presuppositions to mutual interpenetration, sharing, questioning and transformations. This is verbatim copied from the passage. So second one is there already. So we can rule this out. Third, in planetary conversations, East and West should open dialogues while privileging their a priori ethnocentric points of view. While privileging. Is that there? Privileging their points of view is something which author will be against. So third is the correct answer over here. Who got that correct? Who got that correct? ये वाला सबने skip कर दिया है क्या? Question number 3. The author begins the third paragraph with this brief prelude. How can the prelude be summarized best? So, third paragraph में शुरू हुआ है. That means the prelude is mentioned in the first and second paragraphs. Isn't that right? If you begin third paragraph with this, then that means the prelude has been mentioned first and second, either first or second or both the paragraphs. So how can that be summarized? So basically author wants that there should be a global and inclusive dialogue between East and West, isn't it? That is what the author wants. So let us read the options one by one. East and West should indulge in dialogues without prejudices and open their insights and presuppositions to mutual interpretation. This is correct. This is what this summary is. I'll just put a question mark. In absence of a better option, I'll go with 1. 2. Much of the East-West dialogue is still imprisoned within the existing logic of a priori fixation and conscious. Okay. This is not the summary, right? This is something which has happened, but summary should be about the interpenetration of thoughts. The second thing ruled out. The dominant social theories of the West and East need to confront each other, and the predominant Euro-American social theories should give way to Eastern social theories. Should give way to, no, basically they should be somehow mixed and it should be blended. Third also can be ruled out. Fourth, Western presuppositions are power-centric while Eastern are self-centric. That is true, but that is not the best summary. Best summary still remains first option. Sorry. All right. Now coming to next one. Question number 4. All of the following can be followed. Madad, a priori. A priori is from prioritization. So basically, it is a set of rules through which you decide whether something should be done or not. That is a priori. Okay, Madad? Yeah, Bharat, this is the most difficult passage. I also believe in that. All can be inferred except. Except is the keyword over here. ठीक है, देखते हैं हम. छोटे वाले पहले पढ़ लेते हैं, ऑप्शंस बड़े बाद में पढ़ेंगे. Greek sociology was similar to that of Sulak's. This can actually be inferred. It's clearly given in last paragraph. दोनों का सेम था. Louis Dumont and Sulak have given similar theories regarding the ordering of society. This is wrong because Dumont was more focused on individualism, and Sulak was focused on trans-individualism, isn't it? So I'm not reading 1 and 2. 4th is definitely wrong because they don't have the similar theories. Dumont had individualism, Sulak had trans-individualism, right? दीपक पैसेज स्किम करने लिए पहले क्वेश्चंस पढ़ लो और उन क्वेश्चंस में जो कीवर्ड्स हैं उन्हीं को ध्यान देते हुए पैसेज को पढ़ना है. Nitish, for that only first paragraph. Is it clear everyone? ये काफी सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन था, छोटी सी बात थी जो ध्यान देनी थी. Individualism, trans-individualism. Now coming to the last question. Self is neither a peak nor a cliff. What could be the best explanation of this sentence? First says self is not an end in itself. Now it is too, I would say, too general and ये sense ही नहीं बन रहा. Neither a peak nor a cliff is not an end in itself, so it is somehow irrelevant. So I will not go with one. Second says realization of self is neither an achievement nor an obstruction. So basically, peak is an achievement and cliff is an obstruction, isn't it? Second looks correct to me. I'll just put a question mark and read the other options as well. Self is the meeting point of horizontal and the vertical. That is directly mentioned in the paragraph, so it cannot be the interpretation. That is why 3 should not be there. Fourth, individualism is worldly, while trans-individualism is transcendental. Option 4 is irrelevant to this. That is why only 2 is the best option. Two is correct. Three गलत क्यों समझ में आ गया कि 3 is directly lifted from the paragraph. It does not explains, right? Peak achievement है, cliff obstruction है. That is why we say, cliffhanger. You know that. Why not 1? Because we have a better option than 1. Simple. Tushar. सीधा बोल देते मैंने, peak is the metaphor for achievement, cliff is a metaphor for obstruction. It's as simple as that. Most you'll get to know that at the center itself. So that is all for today, and one passage we had already done, you had already done in some of the class. So do you want me to revise that once, the alcohol one? Okay, now going to that passage. Here it comes. Questions first? Okay. Primary purpose, that is the first question. Nandan, I have been speaking from a long time now, that is the reason probably. So you should not read the options here, you first read the paragraph, then you should read the options for this primary purpose questions. Coming to next one, passage contains information that answers the following questions. You can read the questions here. So I think a lot of you have already done it. So I'll just tell you the correct answers and the reasons. I won't revise the entire passage. Here comes the third question. It can be inferred from the passage that aversion conditioning is based primarily on the principle that electric shock stimulates a response, behavior that is punished will be avoided, pain is stronger stimulus than pleasure, alcohol reduces fear. ठीक है, बिल्कुल कोई भी confusing option नहीं है, all four are different, so I think it will be an easy question to answer. Coming to question number 4, which of the following is true of stimulus generalization? Cytox gaming, देख लो ये खत्म होने वाला है. I think 10-15 minutes more. The last question. The author cites Conger's experiment with 2 groups of rats in order to show that ingestion of alcohol does not affect appetite, corroborate the findings of other academic researchers, show that alcohol decreases fear, disprove the learning and reinforcement theory. All right, so let's go to the passage now, and you have 3 to 5 minutes to read the passage and then tell me the answers one by one. The time starts now. Yes, Manisha, कल भी क्लास है, एक छोटी सी रिविजन क्लास. Done? Rishika, and you make a meme out of it. Rishika, are you this reel creator? What do we call a reel creator? Reeler? This is the new profession, I think. I think you do that, right? Create a reel on the same. Coming to the first question. Sagnik, I'm not very sure about that. We'll try. Let's see. Digital creator. Oh, nice. Indrajit sir has just posted something that all of you can start putting in reels and memes, etc. What's the answer to this question? Everybody is saying 4, but the correct answer is 2. I'll tell you why. Option 1 talks about other theory. There is no other theory discussed. No other theory is discussed. Okay. So first is, of course, rule out. Third says argue that alcoholism is a learned behavior. So that doesn't cover the entire topic. It is just a specific mention. Then comes why fourth is wrong, because fourth talks about it explains how fear and anxiety stimulate and reinforce drinking in alcoholic persons. This is basically an example. It's an example, not the primary purpose. Primary purpose is discuss how the behavior of alcoholic persons is explained by learning theory. Okay, so fourth is an example of second. That is why second will be the most correct answer. Is that clear? Tushar, I didn't get that comment. मेरा आपका base अच्छा है. What do you mean by that? Coming to question number 2. The passage contains information that answers the following questions. Okay. Second का बताओ. Okay, BASS. That's the base. He wrote BASE. Thank you. Okay, in option 2, he's talking which has proven more effective in the treatment of alcoholism, aversion conditioning or reinforcement. Why does alcohol ingestion reduce tension and give rise to feeling of euphoria in most people? That is third. Fourth, according to the learning theory, in what cases does punishment reinforce rather than deter drinking in alcoholic persons? First says, what are some of the psychosocial problems associated with alcoholism? Well, basically, all the questions have been somehow answered in the passage. But the second, third, and fourth, the author has not given a clear answer to second, third, or fourth. The clear answers are given for the first question only. Option 1 is correct over here. यहाँ मुझे एक एहसास हो रहा है क्योंकि मैंने पैसेज डिस्कस नहीं किया, so people are marking wrong answers. In spite of claiming that this passage was done earlier. The answer is first. Coming to question number 3. It can be inferred from the passage that aversion conditioning is based primarily on the principle that aversion conditioning was done by Conger, right? What did Conger do? Conger used aversion conditioning to train a group to avoid electric shock, isn't it? So electric shock matlab wo punishment tha. So behavior that is punished will be avoided. That is what aversion conditioning means. Option 2 is correct over here. Preetham and Sarthak are right. Right. Conger used that electric shock principle. So it is basically behavior is punished will be avoided. ये भी गलत हो रहा है लोगों का. But some people have marked it right. Well done. Coming to question number 4. क्यों हो रहा है ऐसा? According to the passage, which of the following is true of stimulus generalization? Probably Madad and Shalagi. Yeah, I think the same. Saturation is a possibility. Chalo, only 2 questions left. Okay. Stimulus generation. So, okay, it is mentioned in paragraph 4. I'll just show that paragraph to you. See, it says, in fact, the anxieties and feelings of guilt induced by the consequences of excessive alcohol ingestion may themselves become the signal for another bout of alcohol abuse. The way in which the cue for another bout could be the anxiety itself is explained by the process of stimulus generalization. Conditions or events occurring at the time of reinforcement tend to acquire the characteristics of the state of anxiety or fear. The emotional state itself takes on the properties of stimulus, thus triggering another triggering. Basically, what happens? So there is a kind of a stimulus is there, and stimulus evokes a response. Okay, and if there is a condition in which the same stimulus is about to be evoked, the same response will be generated. This is something mentioned only in statement 4. Those who are marked 4, like Himanshu, Vasu, Trishali, Pritam, they are correct. They are right. सही से नहीं पढ़ा आप लोगों ने passage ये वाला. Coming to question number 5. The author cites Conger's experiment with 2 groups of rats in order to the last question for today, and this is the least correctly marked passage. ये सिंपल है, सबने सही किया होगा आई थिंक. शो दैट अल्कोहल डिक्रीजेस फियर. एग्जैक्टली. यहाँ भी कुछ गलत हो रहा है. 3 इज करेक्ट ओवर हियर. अरे आई एम नॉट द अमित शाह ऑफ ग्रुप. मैं बिल्कुल ए पॉलिटिकल बंदा हूँ. Someone just tagged me as the Amit Shah of the group. Not really. And Amit Shah? Seriously? Okay. So I think this is the last question for today. And I won't say this time that hope you enjoyed. No, I won't say that. I'll just say that you just have to be cool, composed in the 2 final days, and moreover just try to be surrounded by people you love and people who love you. That is more important. Love both important नहीं है. The people who love you is more important. There are people you might be loving but they hate you, so don't talk to them for 2 days. Okay, and that's all. Drink loads of water. Don't be hydrated on that day because that will kill your thinking power. Okay then. All the best. We'll meet tomorrow once more. Till then, take care, and I'll leave now. Bye bye, everyone. Take care. शैलक ये अभी है अभी कल कल फिर से मिलेंगे. Take care, everyone. Bye bye. अरे अभी मिस यू मत बोलो मनीषा, अभी कल मिलेंगे हम. एंड मोर ओवर, वाई आर यू गोइंग टू मिस मी? आई एम गोइंग वेयर. ठीक है, कैट वाला जर्नी खत्म होगा, देयर विल बी लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स. If people want to be in touch, they will be in touch. All my best wishes to all of you. Let's wait for tomorrow. Bye. That's a clever statement, Shankar. Okay.